My brother framed me for embezzlement, costing me my job and reputation. 5 years later, he's confessed on his deathbed. Should I clear my name or honor his last wish? I never thought I'd be writing this post, but here I am, torn between justice and family loyalty. Will try to provide as much detail as I can, because I really need your advice. 5 years ago, I was living what I thought was the American dream. I had a great job as a financial controller at TechVision, a mid-sized but rapidly growing tech company in Seattle. My salary was in the low six figures, and with bonuses, I was doing pretty well for myself. I had a beautiful home in the suburbs, nothing too flashy, but a comfortable 4-bedroom with a nice yard where my kids could play. My wife, Sarah, and I had just welcomed our second child, a baby girl named Emma, joining our 3-year-old son, Ethan. Life couldn't have been better. My older brother, Mark, worked in the same company as a sales executive. We'd always been close growing up, despite a 4-year age gap. He was the charismatic one, always able to talk his way out of trouble, while I was more of the quiet, by-the-book type. When he helped me land the job at TechVision 3 years prior, I was thrilled. It felt like everything was falling into place. I should probably give you a bit more background on our family dynamic. Our parents, both teachers, had always emphasized the importance of education and hard work. They were proud of both of us, Mark for his outgoing personality and sales skills, and me for my academic achievements and steady career progression. There was never any overt favoritism, but I always felt like I was living in Mark's shadow a bit. He was the life of the party, the one everyone wanted to be around, while I was, well, the accountant. Everything changed on a crisp autumn morning in October. I remember it vividly. The leaves were just starting to turn, and there was that slight chill in the air that signaled the end of summer. I dropped Ethan off at preschool, kissed Sarah and Emma goodbye, and headed to the office, stopping for my usual latte at the corner cafe. When I arrived at work, I immediately sensed something was off. The receptionist wouldn't meet my eye, and there was a hushed atmosphere in the usually bustling office. As I approached my desk, I saw 2 stern-faced men in suits waiting for me. My heart sank as they introduced themselves as investigators from the company's internal audit team. Over the next few hours, my world unraveled faster than I could comprehend. The investigators explained that they had uncovered evidence of significant financial irregularities, all pointing to me. They showed me doctored financial reports, fake invoices, and records of transfers to an offshore account in my name. The amount was staggering, over $2 million embezzled over the course of 2 years. I protested my innocence, of course. I told them there must be some mistake, that I would never do something like this. But the evidence seemed overwhelming. They had records of logins to the financial systems from my computer, emails that appeared to be from me discussing the transfers, which I swore I'd never seen before, even a paper trail of luxury purchases I'd supposedly made with the embezzled funds. I was placed on immediate administrative leave pending a full investigation. Security escorted me out of the building, and I drove home in a daze, my mind racing. How could this be happening? Who would set me up like this, and why? When I got home, Sarah could immediately tell something was wrong. I broke down as I told her what had happened. She was shocked, scared, but supportive. "We'll figure this out," she said, holding me as I sobbed. "I know you, Alex. You would never do something like this." The next few weeks were a nightmare. The company's investigation continued, and soon the police got involved. I was arrested and charged with embezzlement and fraud. The evidence against me seemed airtight, and even though I maintained my innocence, I could see doubt creeping into the eyes of everyone around me, my colleagues, my friends, even my family. My parents were devastated. They had always prided themselves on raising honest, hard-working sons. Now, their younger son was being painted as a thief in the local media. They tried to be supportive, but I could sense their disappointment and confusion. Sarah stood by me, but I could see the toll it was taking on her. She had to field calls from friends and family, all asking what had happened, how she could stay with a criminal. She put on a brave face, but I knew she was struggling. The stress caused her milk supply to drop, and she had to stop breastfeeding Emma earlier than planned, which just added to her guilt and frustration. The only one who seemed to believe in my innocence unwaveringly was Mark. He visited me regularly, offering words of encouragement and promises to help clear my name. "Don't worry, little brother," he'd say, squeezing my shoulder. "We'll figure this out. I know you didn't do this." Looking back, I should have seen the signs, the nervous fidgeting, the guilty looks, the overeager support. But I was too caught up in my own nightmare to notice. I was grasping at any support I could get, and Mark's unwavering belief in me was a lifeline I clung to desperately. The legal battle that followed drained our savings and pushed my marriage to the brink. We had to sell our house and move to a small apartment in a less desirable part of town. Sarah found a job as a teacher to make ends meet, while I stayed home with the kids, unable to find work with the charges hanging over me. Every day was a struggle, watching the life we'd built crumble around us. Miraculously, after almost a year of legal battles, the charges were eventually dropped due to lack of concrete evidence linking me directly to the crime. My lawyer argued successfully that while the evidence was circumstantial, there was no direct proof that I had actually carried out the embezzlement or benefited from it. The prosecutors, likely realizing that they might not get a conviction, agreed to drop the charges. But the damage was done. My reputation was in tatters. No company would touch me with a 10-foot pole. My CPA license was suspended pending a review, effectively ending my career in finance. The financial strain and stress had taken a toll on my relationship with Sarah. While she still believed in my innocence, the constant struggle had worn her down. We were snapping at each other over little things, the warmth and affection in our relationship replaced by a tense, weary coexistence. The next 5 years were a struggle. We lived paycheck to paycheck on Sarah's teacher's salary. I took whatever odd jobs I could find, delivery driver, night security guard, anything to bring in a little extra money. But it was never enough. We were constantly behind on bills, and the debt kept piling up. I fell into a deep depression. The man I had been, confident, successful, respected, felt like a distant memory. Now, I could barely look at myself in the mirror. The worst part was seeing the impact on my kids. Ethan, now old enough to understand that something was wrong, would ask why we couldn't go to Disneyland like his friends, or why Daddy was always sad. Emma, who had been just a baby when this all started, had never known me as anything but this hollow shell of a man. My relationship with my parents became strained. While they never openly accused me, I could sense that they never fully believed in my innocence. Our weekly family dinners became tense affairs, with conversation sticking to safe topics like the weather or the kids' school activities. The easy warmth of our family dynamic was gone, replaced by an uncomfortable formality. Through it all, Mark remained supportive. He would often help us out financially, slipping me cash or buying groceries for the family. He spent time with the kids, taking them to the park or the movies, things Sarah and I could no longer afford to do. I was grateful for his presence, even though a small part of me resented his success while my life had fallen apart. He had been promoted to VP of Sales at Tech Vision, and his life seemed to be going from strength to strength while mine had derailed completely. Then, 2 weeks ago, I received a call that would turn my world upside down once again. It was my mother, her voice choked with tears. Mark had been in a terrible car accident and was in critical condition. The doctors didn't think he'd make it through the night. I rushed to the hospital, my mind a whirlwind of emotions. As I entered Mark's room in the ICU, I was shocked by his appearance. My once vibrant brother lay pale and broken, tubes and wires connecting him to various machines. His face was swollen and bruised, barely recognizable. When he saw me, his eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry, little brother," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the beeping of the monitors. "I can't die without telling you the truth." And then, in halting breaths punctuated by coughs and groans of pain, Mark confessed everything. He had been the one embezzling money from the company. It had started small, skimming a little off the top of his sales commissions, fudging expense reports. But as his gambling debts grew, so did his desperation. He began creating fake clients, inflating sales figures, and siphoning off larger and larger sums. When the internal audit started closing in, he panicked. He knew he'd go to jail if he was caught, losing everything: his job, his family, his freedom. So he decided to frame me to save himself. He used his charm and position to manipulate documents, created the offshore account in my name, and planted evidence on my computer. He even went so far as to buy luxury items in my name to create a paper trail. I stood there, frozen in disbelief as the truth I had known all along was finally confirmed. A mix of emotions surged through me: relief at being vindicated, rage at the betrayal, and a profound sadness for the years lost to this lie. "Why?" I managed to choke out. "How could you do this to me? To our family?" Mark's eyes filled with remorse. I was in too deep. The gambling, the debts. I thought I could fix it before anyone noticed. But it spiraled out of control. When they started investigating, I panicked. "You were the perfect scapegoat, same access, same knowledge. I convinced myself you'd be fine, that they wouldn't find enough evidence to convict you." By the time I realized how badly I'd ruined your life, it was too late to come clean without destroying mine. I wanted to scream, to shake him, to demand back the 5 years of my life he'd stolen. But looking at him, broken and dying, I couldn't summon the anger. Instead, I felt a deep, aching hollowness. I know I have no right to ask anything of you, Mark continued, his breath becoming more labored. But please. Don't tell anyone. Let me die with our parents believing I was a good son. Let my wife and kids remember me as a good man. I know it's selfish, but it's my last request. I'll be gone soon, and you can rebuild your life without the truth coming out. Before I could respond, the machine started beeping frantically. Nurses rushed in, ushering me out of the room. I stood in the hallway, my mind reeling from the confession and the impossible choice laid before me. Mark survived that crisis, but the doctors say he is days, maybe a week at most. And now, I'm torn. On one hand, I have the opportunity to clear my name. I could go to the company, the police, and my family with the truth. I could reclaim my reputation, possibly even sue for damages and secure a financial future for my family. I could look my parents in the eye again without shame, and fully reconcile with Sarah without the shadow of doubt between us. I think about Ethan and Emma, and how this truth could change their lives. They could go back to their old school, see their old friends. We could move back to a nicer neighborhood. I could be the father I want to be, not this bitter, depressed man I've become. On the other hand, exposing the truth would destroy Mark's memory. His wife, Jessica, who's been nothing but kind to us even through all this, would lose her husband all over again, this time to disgrace rather than disease. Their 3 young children, my nieces and nephews who adore their father, would have their world shattered. My parents, already devastated by Mark's impending death, would have their memories of him tainted forever. There's also the practical considerations. The company might pursue legal action against Mark's estate if the truth comes out, potentially leaving his family destitute. And would revealing the truth now really undo the damage to my own reputation, or would it just reopen old wounds? I've spent the last 2 weeks agonizing over this decision. Sarah knows something is wrong, but I haven't told her about Mark's confession yet. Part of me feels like I owe it to myself and my family to clear my name. We've suffered so much because of his actions. Don't I deserve justice? But another part of me wonders if revealing the truth now would cause more harm than good. Mark will be dead soon, beyond the reach of earthly justice. His family, innocent in all this, would bear the brunt of the fallout. And would dragging his name through the mud really undo the damage to my own reputation, or would it just reopen old wounds? There's also a selfish part of me that wonders if I'd be better off keeping quiet. If I don't reveal the truth, I could approach Jessica after Mark's death and ask for financial help under the guise of family loyalty. It feels wrong, but after everything I've been through, don't I deserve some compensation? I'm at a loss. Reddit. What would you do in my situation? Should I honor my dying brother's last wish and take this secret to my grave? Or should I clear my name and damn the consequences? Is there a middle ground I'm not seeing? Edit 1. Wow, I didn't expect this post to blow up like it has. Thank you all for your thoughtful responses and support. I've been reading through the comments, and I wanted to address a few common questions/suggestions. 1. Many of you have asked about legal options. I've considered this, but I'm worried about the lack of concrete evidence. It's essentially my word against a dead man's at this point. I'm not sure how much weight a deathbed confession would hold legally, especially since there were no other witnesses. 2. Some have suggested telling only my immediate family and closest friends. This is tempting, but I worry about the truth spreading beyond my control. Once it's out there, even to a small group, can I really expect it to stay contained? Especially in the emotional aftermath of Mark's death, it might be hard for people to keep this secret. 3. Regarding approaching Mark's wife for financial help without revealing the truth, I want to clarify that this was just a fleeting thought born out of years of frustration. I don't think I could actually go through with such deception. Jessica has always been kind to us, and the thought of manipulating her makes me sick. 4. A few people have asked about my current relationship with Mark's family. We're on good terms, although not particularly close. They've always been kind to us, even during the embezzlement scandal. Jessica often invites us to family gatherings, and our kids are close with their cousins. This makes the situation even more complicated. I don't want to hurt them, but I also feel like they're living a life built on my suffering. 5. To those suggesting therapy, thank you. You're right, and it's something I'm strongly considering, regardless of what I decide to do about the confession. These past 5 years have taken a huge toll on my mental health, and I know I need help processing everything that's happened. 6. Some have asked about my career prospects if I clear my name. Honestly, I'm not sure. Even if I'm exonerated, the scandal will always be there in my history. I might be able to work in finance again, but at 40, starting over in my career would be challenging. Still, It would be better than my current situation. 7. A few comments have mentioned the possibility of writing a book or selling my story. While it's an interesting idea, I'm not sure I'm comfortable profiting from this situation. Plus, it would mean exposing the truth, which brings us back to the original dilemma. I'm still processing all of your advice and perspectives. This isn't a decision I can make lightly or quickly. I'll post an update when I've decided what to do. Again, thank you all for your support and insights during this difficult time. Edit 2. It's been a week since my original post, and I wanted to give you all an update. A lot has happened, and I've made some decisions. Mark passed away 3 days ago. His funeral is tomorrow. After much soul-searching, I've decided. 1. I won't publicly reveal Mark's confession. The potential damage to his innocent family outweighs the benefits of clearing my name publicly. 2. I've told Sarah everything. It was tough, but she's fully supportive now. 3. I'm seeking legal counsel to explore options for clearing my name professionally without implicating Mark. 4. I'm starting therapy next week to process everything. 5. After the funeral, I'll have a private conversation with Mark's wife, explaining that Mark confessed to wrongdoings that affected our family, without revealing the full truth. 6. I've written everything down in a private document. I'm not sure what I'll do with it yet. It's not a perfect solution, but it feels right for now. Thank you all for your advice and support. I'll update if anything significant changes. Edit 3, 6 months later, quick update. I've been legally exonerated without revealing Mark's involvement. I'm back working in finance at a new company. Therapy has been helping immensely. Relationships with family are slowly improving. Still carrying the secret, but feeling more at peace. Thank you, Reddit, for being part of this journey. I hope my story might help others in impossible situations.